Do you follow Zips at all? Have you followed that in your
No.
Okay. Zips is a analytical type thing, and they put out the projections for 25.
Oh,
And
the
this is
win projections?
um Zips is, yeah, it's kind of a weighted thing, and it's playoff percentages and all this. They've got the Dodgers, 92.7% playoff. I'd put it closer to 99, but um the that's how they project the National League West to and their track record over the last, since they've been doing this, they have averaged 19.2 teams they get correct out of the 30. So that's a pretty, they're getting 2/3 right.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. I mean, baseball has a funny way of things changing from year to year, but I would put this division. I mean, I have the Dodgers projected a little over 100 wins, but I could see where they dial it back. And I think this team is built more for October. I don't think the Dodgers are so much concerned about blowing away any records of beating Seattle's 116. I think their role is, let's get into the playoffs healthy, and we'll do our work there. I mean, they have a great advantage in the fact that if they can, win the division, they could set up their rotation. Last year was pretty amazing if you look at it. They won the World Series with 3 starting pitchers, which is pretty crazy. Now they've added, they've got Sasaki and Ohtani coming back and Blake Snell. I mean, that's like 3 Cy Young Award type pitchers that you just added in the offseason. It's ridiculous. But I could see a world where they may need all those pitchers because they do have that history of injury. Glasnow and Gonsolin and May and even Sasaki. The word is that in Japan they thought he might need Tommy John, and that someday he might. And so at some point, but the Dodgers have the luxury of slow pitching. Not slow pitching, but pacing these guys. They don't have to, get these guys to go 6-7 innings to start. And where do you see this Dodger pitching staff? You've been around the game a long, long time. I can remember the 69 Orioles or 420 game winners? You had the 90s Braves that had some great rotations. Where do you stack this Dodger rotation up against all-time pitching staffs?
Well, there's some questions to all time. At this point in time, I don't know that anybody is deeper or better than they are for this particular season at this particular time of the spring. I think that they've realized their one of their few weaknesses after last season, and really have addressed it and given themselves, as you point out appropriately, they've given themselves a lot of leeway with their depth, not to rush anybody and not to extend anybody for that extra inning, 3 or 4 times a month. Let them pitch maybe a little bit less, so that when you get to October, they're a little bit fresher than the teams that have battled to get in there.
So,
that's how they do it. I don't know that, I think it's premature to say they're going to be like the 420 game winners in Baltimore, or 3 Hall of Famers in Atlanta, and Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox. We don't know that quite yet. Are they capable of that? Yeah, they are. But until they play the games, you don't really know what you're going to see. You can project, and I think the 97 wins for them is low. I don't know how.
Yeah, they're pretty conservative, on the top end, and so I think their over-unders 103.5. I got them going just a little bit over that. Yeah, I think I could see them winning around 108, 106, 108, just, kind of coast into the division. Although there is a world where if things don't go perfectly, some injuries happen to some key players, that I could see, and if Arizona overperforms and wins 100 games, I could see Arizona squeaking out a division by a game or two if things line up perfectly, kind of like 21 for the Giants and when they won 107 games. I don't think that happens. I think the Dodgers win the division comfortably by 10 plus, but there is a world where Arizona's pitching just takes off. Jordan Montgomery bounces back. You get, productive years out of Gallen and Kelly and Fott, and then you got, of course, Corbin Burns, and then you've got Rodriguez. They've got the Diamondbacks can actually go with a 6-man rotation as well. But I mean, there's no doubt that the Dodgers are the class of this division and of baseball. But I'm kind of thinking there's about 5 teams to me right now, as I look at it, maybe 6 that could give the Dodgers a run for the money, whether it be, sometime in the playoffs. I like Atlanta coming back, being a better team. I like what the Mets are doing. I like, Philadelphia is always good. The Cubs, they had a chance to even get better by signing Bregman, but they didn't. And so I'm not sure if they're there. Arizona, and then in the American League, I really like what the Yankees kind of did in the offseason, but Stanton's already hurt now with he's got tendonitis in both elbows, hasn't picked up a bat in 3 weeks. That's not a good sign at 35. And then I like what Boston's doing. Boston has added Alex Bregman, and they've got some tools. So it should be fun. I mean, this is a great time of year where everybody, is in first place, tied, at least for a weekend. But it's such an interesting thing to me, Ned, when it comes to what's happened in the offseason. And I don't blame the Dodgers or their owners one bit. That they're working within the rules and they want to win, and they went out and signed the guys they wanted. But there is a lot of people talking that after the 26th season, the collective bargaining agreement runs out, and some people are saying there may be a lockout because some owners are going to want a salary cap. I think you can't have a cap without a floor, but where do you see that? Is that something that, as a executive, that you look out in advance, or you just don't even worry about that and you just say, hey, my focus is on this year's team, I'm not even thinking about that? Or do you have to think about that in terms of people when you sign longer term deals?
Well, if there's the language in the contract is if the game doesn't get played, people aren't getting paid. So you don't need to really put that into the equation.